chance to get his gun. You was the devil in disguise, man. You're a loser, and I hope to God you die on that.
Our whole world was turned upside down from that point. You took it upon yourself to end my...
This is where you will end up, with your family and friends crying as you're let out of the courtroom to serve the rest of your life in prison.
Systematic, almost torture. I mean, those boys were so badly beaten, and you make them go to the garage and pick out the piece of wood that she was systematically beaten.
His dad never come home.
I don't regret it. The only thing that regret is the skill too. Stop.
I'm sorry for what happened to your underfoot.
Just stop.
You like in prison?
Sometimes the scariest moments in a courtroom don't come from the crimes themselves, but from what happens when the judge finally says the words, life in prison. You can see gang leaders go from fearless to broken, families begging for answers, and killers showing chilling calm like nothing matters at all. One sentence can destroy futures, expose regret, or reveal pure cruelty, and every reaction tells a different story. When justice is finally delivered, what do these criminals do, and which reaction will shock you the most? Number 10.
Today, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I'm not saying I regret it but what I know for a fact, if I could have changed some things, I wouldn't be here where I'm now.
Number 10, George Geweld. Thomas, the man who laughed at his own death sentence. George Thomas wasn't just another name in the world of South Africa's gangs. He was a sign of fear. Because his name means violence in Afrikaans, the nickname Geweld wasn't given to him by accident. He got that title by being violent and cruel for years on end. His bad character spread from the Cape Flat streets to courtrooms and prison cells. Many gang leaders try to stay hidden by keeping things secret, but Thomas was proud of who he was and the fear it caused, and he refused to let jail ever stop him. To understand why Thomas became so well known, you need to know about how violent the Cape Flats were. The Flats were a huge area where poverty, rivalry, and gang fighting were common. In this setting, strength often beats weakness, and Thomas rose through the ranks by being very strict about following the rules and keeping his territory under control. He was involved in many types of crime, including planning thefts, running extortion networks, and planning murders.
Today, I'm gonna be brutally honest. I'm not saying I regret it but what I know for a fact, if I could have changed some things, I wouldn't be here where I'm now.
But what made Thomas different from many others wasn't just the violence he did. It was also how he kept his power even after he went to jail. When they get out of jail, most criminals lose control, but Thomas seemed to do well being locked up. He kept running his business from prison, giving orders, planning crimes, and keeping control of his network. Later, police found proof that he was involved in several murders and other violent crimes that happened while he was in jail, showing that prison did not limit his abilities. It was clear that Thomas was scared when the full force of the law finally caught up with him. Lawyers for the government charged him with over 50 crimes, including 7 counts of murder, multiple attempted murders, racketeering, illegal gun ownership, and more. Witnesses were afraid to go to court because several had been killed or disappeared in strange situations, and families were always afraid that telling the truth would lead to punishment. It didn't feel much like a courtroom. It was more like the heart of a storm that had been building for years. Many people in the public thought Thomas would be angry, defiant, or at least shocked when the judge read the punishments, multiple life sentences for each murder. He did something strange instead. He smiled. In that split second, he showed the spooky distance that had been a big part of his life. He wasn't smiling because he was happy. The tic wasn't caused by nerves. It was the face of a man who still deeply thought that his identity and power went beyond the courtroom and the prison walls. The calm, almost carefree smile that they gave said a lot. It was scary to see how he accepted that bloodshed was his fate. It seemed like Thomas had stopped seeing himself as responsible to anyone a long time ago. Most importantly, it brought to light the harsh truth that some people who have been criminals for a long time can't be stopped by even the harshest punishment, life in prison. Fear gives them a sense of power that they can't lose. George Geweld. Thomas's story is not just about the bad things that one gang boss did. It is a stark warning of how deeply violence can change a person's identity and how, for some, losing their freedom does not always mean they are no longer vulnerable to being influenced or scared. His smile while he was facing life in prison is still one of the scariest images in the history of South African gang cases. It was a time when violence met the law and power refused to bend.
Murder in the first degree. You, upon your oaths, say that the defendant is guilty on a theory of deliberate...
Number 9. Manuel Rios, defiance as a last shield. Manuel Rios was a member of the notorious Latin Kings gang in Massachusetts. He had to face one of the worst situations a young man could ever imagine. He would never get out of prison because he was found guilty of first-degree murder. But there was no sign of fear on his face when he walked into court.
Murder in the first degree. You, upon your oaths, say that the defendant is guilty on a theory of deliberate premeditation and a theory of extreme atrocity and cruelty. So say, Mr. Foreperson.
Rios learned on the streets that showing weakness could get him killed, and he took that lesson with him into the courtroom, which was cold and scary. The crime itself showed a troubling amount of planning. Rios got 18-year-old Kenneth Lopez to come with him by saying they had a personal dispute that needed to be solved peacefully. Instead, the fight ended in death. Lopez was shot 4 times, and 2 of the bullets hit him in the head, killing him. The act wasn't done on the spur of the moment. Later, police found weapons, scales used for drug deals, cocaine that was packaged to be sold, and cocaine. These results showed that Rios was a young man who was deeply involved in a life of crime that went beyond a single violent act. During the hearing, Rios stayed calm and uninvolved. Unlike many convicts who show fear, anger, or regret, he didn't say anything. He didn't say sorry or beg for forgiveness. He wasn't cool because he was brave. It was because he had been disciplined for years by living in a gang with strict rules. He saw the courts as just another battlefield, and controlling how he reacted was his last way of showing how powerful he was. Even though Rios would never be free again after the judge gave his sentence, the young gang member did not flinch. There were no tears or signs of sorrow. There was only defiance. His behavior brought out a sad truth about the minds of hardened criminals. Some of them hold on to the way of thinking that kept them living and respected on the streets, even when they are faced with the full consequences of their actions. That Rios was acting so scary showed that gang violence is about more than just crime. It's also about power and fear. Manuel Rios was given a sentence that would keep him in jail for life, but he refused to give up. This is a stark example of how some people don't give up when they face justice. Instead, they react with an unbroken, almost unsettling resolve. Number 8. The Carpio Brothers, When Violence Meets Space. In their teens, Anthony and Michael Carpio got into a fight that turned into a tragedy that would change their lives forever. Kevin Orellana, 18, and Anthony got into a small fight that quickly turned deadly when Anthony pulled out a knife. Kevin was stabbed several times in a matter of seconds, and his life was over in an instant. Even though the choice was made on the spot, the effects will last forever. Kevin's parents lost their hopes for their son, which included college graduations, weddings, and job milestones. Instead, they felt grief and shock. They used to have hopes and dreams for Kevin's future, but now their world is full of grief and loss. People in the courtroom were keeping a close eye on the brothers to see if they showed any signs of sorrow or guilt. The Carpios, on the other hand, stood still with blank looks on their faces. Their silence spoke louder than any words they could have said, which could mean they were emotionally distant or couldn't understand how serious their actions were. The law made a clear decision. Because of how bad their crime was and how it affected the victim's family, both brothers were given jail terms that could last decades. But no term, no matter how long, could bring Kevin back or fix the damage he caused. It was chilling that they didn't cry or say sorry. This shows that silence can sometimes be more powerful than anger or resistance. A harsh truth was shown in court. Young criminals' impulsive actions can destroy lives forever, leaving scars that time can't heal.
You will end up with your family and friends crying as you...
Abel Gallegos, getting rid of witnesses to protect criminals. The killing of Abel Kendi. Gallegos showed violence that was planned ahead of time. When Simone Duran saw a shooter in a lineup, gang members didn't just scare her, they killed her. Taking her hostage, killing her, and setting her body on fire showed a terrifying goal: to silence anyone who risked loyalty.
This is where you will end up, with your family and friends crying as you're let out of the courtroom to serve the rest of your life in prison.
Gallegos got a life sentence without release and more than 100 other punishments for his part in the crime. The judge said that the crime was casually cruel because Simone's life was taken without any feelings being involved. Gallegos' behavior in court fit that assessment. He didn't say much as the judge told him what he was being charged with and how long he would be in jail.
It was a horrific crime. I am struck by the casualness in which it was committed, the absolute disregard. This is the result. This is where you will end up.
Not an outburst, not sorry. The coldness of his response made a painful truth even clearer. Some criminals see people as disposable, and only the system, not their morality, can stop them in the end. Number 6, Lisandro Posada Vazquez, loyalty to MS-13. More important than human life, the MS-13 gang has strict rules. Being loyal is praised, disobeying is punished, and betrayal is not forgiven. Raymond Wood, 17, was kidnapped and killed by Lissandro Posada Vazquez. Wood was a teenager who put his trust in the wrong people. It was meant to send a message when Raymond was beaten, stabbed, and cut up. Vazquez admitted fault in court, but refused to say sorry. His attitude showed that he was giving up, not sorrow. He might have thought that being loyal to the gang was more important than being morally responsible. He might have been afraid of breaking gang rules, even from jail. No matter what, the judge gave him a life term because he knew that someone who could plan such violence could never be safe in society again. Vazquez's lack of emotion shows how deeply some people are rooted in gang beliefs, where feeling bad about something is seen as weak instead of human. Number 5.
Where's the evidence she said she was? All that she said she was. Where's the evidence showing that she was?
Javon Woolfork, when pride finally breaks. At first, Javon Woolfork didn't take his hearing seriously. He made fun of the police, calling them liars and saying that proof they had was made up.
5 suspects were accused in this case. All but one took a plea deal.
The girl who says he raped her. It was violent and disturbing cell phone video capturing a girl being savagely beaten and dragged through this Hollywood home.
To be honest, it felt like hours.
That girl, who had just turned 16, gave jurors a riveting account of being lured to the house and ambushed.
They kept telling me that I need to have sex with Javon, and if I don't have sex with Javon, they're going to keep hitting me. And I told them to let me out of the home, let me out, let me out. I started feeling punches to my face. Okay. I remember Javon grabbing me by my hair, threw my head against the concrete.
He was accused of a horrible assault that included both physical violence and sexual coercion.
Well, listen. What evidence do you have for me to take something?
All right, so.
Where's the DNA at? Where's the sign of entry penetration? Where's the so-called video they have? What's the evidence? What evidence do you have? Let me know. What evidence do you have? What evidence have?
Ms. Schneider says you gave a statement admitting that you had.
That don't mean where's the evidence? She said she was all that. She said she was. Where's the evidence showing that she was? Where's that evidence at?
They don't got it.
What I said. I don't really matter what I said.
His behavior showed he was cocky, as if he thought threats could somehow beat facts. When unquestionable camera footage was shown, everything changed.
Where's the evidence? She said she was all that. She said she was. Where's the evidence showing that she was consensual?
Consensual?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell me about the consensual part when you went in the room.
It happened before, way before they started fighting. We was all in my room chilling, we was drinking. I had and she wanted some so they left out and it was just me and her in the room. Now I ain't gonna get into all the details. So she was snorting powder. She snorted powder. This girl a powder too. I ain't got to rape this girl, she's a powder too.
At that very moment, Woolfork's belief fell apart. He changed the tone of his voice to beg, and he begged for forgiveness. He was given 30 years in prison by the judge, who wasn't touched.
Where is the fact? She said she was held down. Where the was the evidence at? You still avoid that question.
Woolfork's case was different from others because you could see his emotions change from cockiness to hopelessness.
Please, Your Honor, please. I need a new lawyer who's gonna help me, Your Honor. Please. Please, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor, I do not want to go along with this trial with this dude, Your Honor. Please, I'm gonna fear my life.
That change showed how quickly confidence goes away when bad things happen. While some people stay calm, Woolfork showed fear.
It is guilty of sexual battery with actual use of force likely to cause serious bodily harm as charged in the information.
Not because he felt bad about what he did.
I was 19 at the time when it happened. You know, I've been incarcerated for 2 years.
The facts and circumstances here were extremely sick and depraved, and that impression hasn't changed.
But because he was afraid of losing control of his life. Number 4.
You'll be a loser, and that's it. Your whole life, you're gonna be a loser, and I hope to God you die on that floor in the penitentiary, punk.
Zachary Borton, a calm that made people cool. 3 old members of a motorcycle club were shot and killed in their own home.
Yes, someone shot up our house or something. I don't know. They both look dead. I don't. There's the front doors shot out, and one's on the ground, and I think the other one's in the living room on the ground.
Okay, so hang on just a minute. Somebody shot your door, and there's somebody laying on the ground.
It looks like it. Yes, it looks like they're dead. I'm not sure. I got there and I sat down and I left.
What's the address?
Yes, I was just coming home. Yeah, I stay there.
Okay, so does it look like this person that's laying on the ground has been shot?
I can't. He's not moving, and the glass is shot out of the front door. I can't tell. I'm scared. Like, if I was there, they would have shot me too. I wasn't there though. Like,
How long ago did this happen? Do you know, or did you just get home?
It's just like 15 minutes ago. I just left. I'm scared. I'm trying to ask somebody to answer their phone and figure out what to do. I don't know. I'm panicking. So I'm trying to. I don't know. I had no signal. I had to get all the way off of off of Ravy Road to even get.
Okay, so there's just one person laying on the ground?
No, there's 2. There's one in the living room on the ground. It's so dark in there, I can't tell. I can't tell.
Zachary Borton, a person they knew and trusted, was blamed. Borton said he acted in self-defense, but the proof didn't support that. The victims didn't have much of a chance to fight back, and it looked like the killings were planned.
Borton was wanted in connection to the deadly shootings of 3 men who were found dead at a home in Grass Lake, southeast of Jackson, Sunday morning. Borton was also wanted in Grand Rapids for assault and shooting a firearm at a building.
During the sentencing, his living relatives spoke out emotionally, calling him a coward and hoping that he would spend the rest of his life in jail.
So I shot him twice, or 3 times maybe.
He was coming in the door?
Yeah, he was coming in the front door. And then he was yelling something like motherfucker. He was agitated for sure. And he had a pistol drawn up. And so I shot him. And then I'm not sure. I think it happened kind of fast in slow motion. At the same time, it was all kind of a blur. So I shot him, and then after I shot he was coming out the back. And so I turned towards him and shot him, or at him rather. I don't know if I hit him the first time because he turned. And when he turned to kind of get away, I kind of ran back towards him.
Killed my brother. It wasn't self-defense. If there was any kind of self-defense, you would have got up on that stand and went ahead and said something about yourself or something like that, or said you coward now. I was a part of the United States Army. You think I'd be afraid of you? Other people was? I will take your head off, boy. Blink your eyes. I'm serious. Not 1 shot, not 2 shots, 5 shots, 10 shots. Clips. Just wasted away on my brother. And shaking. He was sleeping. You got him in his bed. He didn't have a chance to get his gun. You ran through that house like a madman wanting to kill people. That's your problem. You was the devil in disguise, man. You're a loser, man. You'll be a loser, and that's it. Your whole life, you're gonna be a loser, and I hope to God you die on that floor in the penitentiary, punk.
Many people thought Borton would respond, like being angry, shocked, or sad. Instead, he kept his face blank.
Gun is a man stopper. That's a big gun. 12 citizens, randomly drawn from the community, from all walks of life. They determined that beyond a reasonable doubt, you acted in lawful self-defense. They considered your defense. They rejected it. And what did you do? Oh, well, you got your shooting rampage, and you saw him get up off his bed, and you saw something shiny in his hand, and of course, where are you? You're in a meth rage, and then you just decide to start shooting. And you shot him, and he went down to the floor, and then you saw him move. To me, this is the most significant testimony in the trial. You saw him move. An 80-year-old man that you already hit with a .40 caliber round, and he's moving. So what do? Do you just hold your weapon, control the situation, see what's going on? Hell no, you went and moved in. You hunted him down. You pumped multiple more rounds into that 80-year-old man, and Mr. Fraley, and that's exactly why the jury convicted you of first-degree murder. You're very familiar with guns, Mr. Borton, and you picked one that certainly was able to finish the job and gun 3 men down in cold blood. And that's what you did, cold-blooded murder. So on count number 3, first-degree murder, the court is going to impose the most significant sentence allowed under Michigan law. Life without the possibility of parole. You're going to go in the front door of the reception and guidance center, all things being equal, they'll take you out in a black bag on the way out. So that's what life without possibility with parole is all about, Mr. Borton. And you'll meet lots of other lifers out there that, engage in the same kind of crime. You don't have to worry about your parole date because there won't be one.
The judge's description of a cold-blooded killing matched Borton's standing still. His term of life in prison without the chance of parole set his future in stone. It can be more unsettling than seeing someone angry because it suggests a lack of connection that makes it hard to feel empathy. Number 3, Brandon Spencer. When the hard shell cracks, courtrooms often show facts that years of living on the streets can hide. When the judge finally read Brandon Spencer's sentence, that was the moment for the young gang member from Los Angeles. It wasn't during evidence or cross-examination. Spencer was only 19 years old when he went to a Halloween party at the University of Southern California in 2012. The night was supposed to be fun, with students dressed up, music playing all over campus, and a lot of teens and young adults moving from one party to another. For Spencer, though, the night did not feel friendly. In the end, the prosecutors said that he had seen a rival gang member in the crowd, someone he had hated for a long time. They said that short view made him make a choice that would affect the rest of his life. Gunfire broke out. 4 people were hurt. Fear spread through the school. Some students ran, while others hid behind cars and walls because they didn't know where the shots were coming from or if there would be more. Spencer also tried to run away when everything went crazy, but police quickly found him to be the one who shot the person. He was caught and charged with 4 counts of trying to kill someone. Spencer insisted he was innocent throughout the hearing. His lawyers said there wasn't enough proof that he had specifically targeted anyone, let alone shot into a crowd with the aim to kill. But the prosecution painted a different picture. They said the boy was deeply involved in gang culture, taking old grudges into new places and ready to risk innocent lives to settle a score. They said it was very clear that whoever fired the shots did so during a busy college event, which meant that many people could have been killed. The judges believed what the state said. After hearing that the person was found guilty, Spencer kept his cool. He had lived through arrests before. He had been raised in a home where going to jail almost seemed like a life event. But what happened next broke down the mental wall he had built up for years. He got 40 years to life in prison from the judge. In an instant, the gravity of his position hit him hard. He had been locked up for decades, his youth traded for metal doors and concrete walls. Spencer hit the table twice with his face. His whole body shook. As he screamed and sobbed, police officers rushed forward and grabbed him. The picture was very different from the idea of an unbreakable gang member that most people have. He wasn't a danger, a symbol, or a rival at that time. He was a scared young man who realized that the future he thought he could handle was no longer there. There was a strange silence in the courtroom. Most likely the scene didn't make the victims feel better because their scars were still there. Fairness had been given to the judge. Many young offenders don't fully understand the consequences of their choices until it's way too late. Spencer's breakdown showed people a disturbing truth. His sentence wasn't just a punishment, it was also a scary reminder that one snap decision based on violence and pride can end not only a life, but also a lifetime of opportunities. Number 2, the murder of Lissandro Jr. Guzman-Feliz. On the night of June 20th, 2018, 15-year-old Lissandro Guzman-Feliz left his Bronx apartment to meet a friend, unaware that his life was about to end. A group of Trinitario's gang members, mistakenly believing Lissandro was linked to a rival gang, chased him in 4 cars. He ran into a nearby bodega for safety, hiding behind the counter, but was dragged out by 5 men armed with knives and machetes. Despite his desperate pleas, the attackers took turns stabbing him. Severely injured, Lisandro attempted to reach St. Barnabas Hospital, just a block away, but collapsed and died from a fatal neck wound. CCTV footage of the brutal attack quickly spread, shocking the community. Police arrested Yonaki, Martinez Estrella, Manuel Rivera, Elvin Garcia, Jose Munez, and Antonio Santiago. Martinez Estrella received life without parole for delivering the fatal blow, while the others received 23 to 25 years to life. His death highlighted the devastating consequences of gang violence and mistaken identity. Number 1, murder of rapper XXXTentacion. XXXTentacion, whose real name is Yase Dwayne Onfroy, went to a motorcycle shop in Florida with his step-uncle Leonard Kerr on June 18, 2018, just 2 days before Lissandro Guzman-Feliz died. They had $50,000 with them to buy something. It was Michael Boatwright, Trayvon Newsom, Dedrick Williams, and Robert Allen who were watching him. He had no idea they were there. They stopped his BMW with a black SUV as he was leaving. Boatwright and Newsom, who were armed and wearing masks, went up to him. After a short fight, Onfroy was shot and killed, and his attackers took his money and ran away. To find the criminals, investigators used CCTV footage, phone records, and comments from witnesses. Robert Allen agreed to witness against the other people and said that Newsom stole the money, Williams drove the getaway car, and Boatwright shot and killed the person. All 3 were given sentences of life in prison without the chance of release. Boatwright was given an extra 30 years. Allen got 7 years in prison plus probation. The case showed how greed and planned violence can quickly end a life that seemed like it could go well. For gang leaders, the courtroom is the last place where fantasy and truth meet. In the outside world, violence can help build an image. On the inside, identity is reduced to legal truths and moral responsibility. Some people smile, some anger, some people stop talking. But no move changes what will happen. The metal doors shut, the hallway makes noise. People's lives are changed forever, whether they are guilty or not. Seeing these things forces us to face tough facts about crime, power, and the worst parts of people. It also shows why there are justice systems, not just to punish people, but to show everyone that even the meanest people can be punished for their deeds. In the end, the courtroom doesn't make people afraid. It replaces chaotic violence with serious order. This makes sure that those who used to rule through fear now have to deal with something they can't get away from: the consequences of their choices. The story isn't over yet. Subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.